Alright guys, it's time for our unique devotion this morning. So we're back at the beginning of Galatians chapter 3. And I'm going to read verses 1 through 4. This is entitled Justification by Faith. And though there's another portion to this section, something was standing out. So that's where I stopped. Here's the scripture. O foolish Galatians! Who has bewitched you that you should not obey the truth, before whose eyes Jesus Christ was clearly portrayed among you as crucified? This only I want to learn from you. Did you receive the Spirit by the works of the law, or by the hearing of faith? Are you so foolish? Having begun in the Spirit, are you now being made perfect by the flesh? Have you suffered so many things in vain, if indeed it was in vain? So right off the bat, now if you remember from part 1 and part 2, when I read through the book of Galatians, he's talking about the law a lot here, and sort of following by the law versus following along by faith. But later on we find out not that the law is completely without merit, but it definitely doesn't come first. So I was trying to think of something in modern terms that would help to explain this a little bit, and in a way it helps me think a little bit deeper about the difference between law and faith. So we have laws and rules. Laws like driving laws, speed limits. When you follow that speed limit, if you don't, there are consequences. If you get caught. You don't have faith in the speed limit, in that it just automatically drives you. Now you do have faith that the speed limit is a proper speed for you to drive safely, and therefore you try to stick pretty close to that speed limit. Does that make sense? You kind of have faith in the justification, but there's the law that comes first. They put the law in place first, and then you learn and decide to have faith in that law so that you can follow it. And then when you don't follow it and you get caught, or even if you don't get caught and you're still speeding like a mad, crazy dog, and something happens, you can't take that back. That's sort of how sin is. Sin is the same way. With the law, when that comes first, the laws are put in place in a way of protection between you and God, to draw you close to Him and give you the ability to be in His presence the closer you follow those laws. But the second that you don't follow that law, even if you've put your faith in that law will bring you closer to God, the second you don't, you take a step back. So it's a constant, you follow law, then you break the law, because you can't uphold them. And they're, in the Jewish language, in the Jewish culture, there are hundreds, and I think there's actually over 1,000 at this point, of different laws and little tiny things that they have to do and follow every single day. And you can't follow every single one of them. That's the struggle here. That's the problem. So what he's talking about here then is putting faith in front of that. What does that look like? Well, now here's the example I was trying to get to at the beginning, and I kind of went off a little bit. Gravity. We didn't create gravity first as a law, though it is a universal law, if you will, God's law to hold humanity here on this earth. We just have faith that something is holding us down. We've always, since the dawn of time, before we even understood what gravity was, we didn't question necessarily how we were being held on the earth. Over time, we started to question that, but the faith came first. The faith was there that we are just being held on earth by some form or fashion, not knowing why, and we're not floating off into outer space. Later, we put the law in place. So the faith came first in what gravity is, and I think you can probably grasp this along with me. And then we put the law in place. And it's not a law that we can break. If we can't necessarily break this law, we can manipulate it slightly by forcing our way through it. But we can't break it. There's nothing that we can do to cause a sin that I can think of against gravity, because we have faith solid in it first. And it's not like you can just remove your faith and then float off into outer space. Your faith in gravity is solid. Think about that. So in the same way then, the God that holds you into existence, the God that loves you, that has sacrificed himself on a cross for you, is going to great extremes to put you in this world, create you in this life, and do whatever it takes, sacrificing himself to draw you closer to him. Do you have faith in that the same as gravity? Or do you continue to put laws in place and in between you and God that, like a ladder, you have to knock one out and step one another and step one another and continue to get closer to him? Do you see the difference here? Faith first, then maybe law. Not law first, trying to always get the faith. They're just ideas. That's not a complete thought process, but that's sort of what's going through my head, and I'm gonna try and think a little bit deeper about that. Am I living by law or by faith? Am I living by faith or by law? Try to think about that today. Use the idea of gravity. If you need to, re-watch this video and try to grasp what I'm getting at. If you have thoughts or ideas on the same subject, please put them in the comments down below. I love the perspective. So, on that note, I hope God gives you all the blessings you deserve and all the blessings you don't deserve. Until next time, have a wonderful day.